that they snowballed from. And I want to see now if we'll get a similar style from RNG coming into this, and if we'll end up with something like that Lucian as well into the bot side. And there goes my answer very, very quickly.
I mean, honestly, you can't let this happen again, Red. As much as it wasn't a game of record, you knew what happened. You know what's going to go down if you let that Lucian in, and it does feel like it is just becoming the red side priority ban. Now, RNG, they will have first pick, and they will basically be able to try and pick and choose where they want to go. And for Red, they said on the desk, obviously it's a very big mountain for them to climb, but they need to try and find something. Where do you think they're going to be able to find that gusto, if you will, to make this work?
Yeah, I think a lot of, well, I was about to say it was like getting a good matchup for Aegis. Actually going to ban away the Wukongs and making sure that that doesn't fall across, but you could always try and go for something a little bit funky, right? Like leave open the Wukong, leave open an Ahri. Maybe you can get one side of the matchup and set yourself up. But I mean, after Xiaohu's last performance on the Ahri, maybe you just want to make sure Grevtar is a little bit more comfortable in the mid lane.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely Dancing Herald is not a position you want to be in very often. We do get the Ahri banned away, so it's actually going to be RNG saying, look, we have an idea for what we want to play. What do you got in response?
Well, that's the thing, right? When you look at the way Red Canids have been playing, a huge amount of their damage portfolio has been coming from Guigo in that top side. So this is why, at least for me, it made sense that the last two times we've seen them face up, they have gone for roaming mid laners that can support being in that top side, shut down Guigo, kind of play away from the mid lane and help out bot side against Cheaton. And as you can see, Red kind of agreed, like already getting rid of the Galio as well.
Yep, Galio gone. You still have the Twisted Fate, not something you really want to be blinding first. So we'll see what the priority is going to be here for RNG. And again, currently just looking absolutely indomitable and just pushing so hard to make sure that they get winning lanes across the board. And the Gwen, it does that.
It definitely does, but I want to see what the plan is, because at least when you look across at Guigo, right, you have opportunities now to go for something like the Jax, go for that counter pick, and I think that'll set up Guigo a lot more comfortable. But I think you can kind of leave that for a second. Getting these AD carries that you're more flexible with in the bottom side of the map, like getting Cheaton onto something could be good, but also getting that Lee Sin for Aegis is going to be a top priority here.
Yeah, absolutely. Lee Sin, fantastic at just getting those early skirmishes down, making sure that he has that early priority to maybe keep RNG a little bit more honest, as we do see now what they want to try and go for in the other lanes. You would imagine they would maybe look to try and get their mid laners sorted out here, or even actually the support. So they're going for the Leona and the Lee Sin, just trying to get that early engage and just a guaranteed engage solid for the team comp.
Yeah, I mean, overall that just kind of sets you up nicely, where you don't have to worry too much about you know, where that the solid engage setup is going to come from. The Nautilus can come through again for Ming, and he's been very happy to go towards that. Maybe even something a little bit more funky like the Shen we saw in the last game, but it definitely feels, at least from Red, they're setting up for these nice early skirmishes, and that's what I actually want them to go towards. Like, look for early plays towards things like the Rift Herald, where Red have felt more comfortable.
Going to be the Graves locked in here. You'd imagine they'll be going to Way in the jungle. Great control. Of course, the desk has talked about it all week, but there is a fantastic just general pick at the moment. Good early skirmishing as well as just great scaling as well. And you got the lethality, you do end up having a lot more kind of burst ability onto AD carries. And now you're seeing where you want to try and take your last pick here before we go into the second round of picks, and that's going to be Ming on the Gragas.
Okay, so yeah, bringing in something that's not the traditional thing that we see from Ming, but certainly a very strong champion in that bot side. And it does also leave me kind of curious, like, do you end up seeing something maybe a little bit more like a Yasuo at some point in the mix of this, just because you do that opportunity to go for a little bit something more flexible, especially with the AP top lane, or if they want to go for something a little bit different. Even when we saw in the last game, right, like RNG are willing to mix things up a little bit now that they have guaranteed themselves that spot.
Well, Twisted Fate was locked in there for the side of the Red Canids as they look to try and, again, create those skirmishes like you talked about, and they're going to ban away the things that can do very well into it that can also follow. So you imagine it's going to be the Rise. I also imagine the Silas will be banned away here, because if you do put that in the mid lane, that's just a bad time for the Twisted Fate.
Yeah, I mean, it's a absolutely miserable time, but we still have things like Orianna that Xiaohu has been more than comfortable playing. These things that can still do pretty well at shoving in this Twisted Fate, but certainly getting rid of the Silas, getting rid of the Rise are going to make things that little bit more easy for the Twisted Fate. And on the upside, we're going to see Guigo targeted. We already talked about the Jax being a potential answer towards things like the Gwen. Probably see a Camille come through here as well. Just getting Guigo off of these things that are the more carry-oriented side lane split pushers where Guigo's comfortable.
I think he came to the wrong match with that sign. Don't think both teams are going to have fun in this particular one, especially not PSG. But we wait and see. I think it's very good to keep an optimistic light on Red. But again, we're seeing a lot more focus onto what could be standard for the side of RNG. Gala's Ezreal now becoming a staple within the bans, something that he's not going to really get most of his hands on. And the Tristana are going to round out the bans for RNG as we start to see, again, more focus towards that bot side.
So this is where I'm kind of curious. Do you just take the Kai'Sa here for a cheat-on, or does he want to go towards the Jhin, which is being kind of more the facilitator pick? I really think you do need some sort of damage, though. And I think a Kai'Sa with the Twisted Fate lets you have this pick comp that can work super, super well with the Kai'Sa able to follow up. And that could be one way of trying to get yourself into this game. Okay.
I haven't locked it in just yet, but we'll, as you know, never mind, they have. That's a Darius in the top side for Guigo, so going for full lane dominance.
And this is where you are going to see Grevtar try and support this, right? Like, if you can get Guigo going, I mean, look at the champions that you already have on RNG's side. Very close range, all want to get in on top of you, and that's where Darius thrives. So we'll have to see if Grevtar can get the ball rolling for Guigo in this top lane. And it's kind of looking like, you know, going for comfort across the board for Red in what could potentially be their last game of MSI.
So it's actually going to be a Gwen mid with a Tamken Senna bot, and the Gragas is going up to the top side. So the actual bait and switch coming in here for the side of RNG, unless it's a Gragas mid.
Could also, I mean, look, Chinese solo queue, you see a lot of Graves mid, you see a lot of Graves top. You could have the Gragas going into the jungle, you'd have Gwen going into the jungle. There is a ton of flexibility here. Honestly, you could even get the Tamken top, like, who knows in this scenario, right? So I think you've got a lot to work with here, and I'm curious to see what exactly the game plan is going to be.
Right until the end there, we saw the Taric, but it is going to be the Xayah locked in here. So again, good skirmishing power from the side of Red, and now we get to see where all these fantastic champions get to go, who's going where. I do think it is going to be the Gragas into the top side, a specialty within the LPL to just mitigate any kind of... And honestly, it worked because we saw the Darius being picked up before it realistically needed to be.
I'm just laughing at Shao, who was like, you know what, I saw Caps doing this. This was kind of fun. I'm down to see what the story is here. So, I mean, maybe a little bit of a shout out, but something that does do well against the Twisted Fate, right? You're able to dodge away from that potential setup with the gold card because you got the Hollowed Mist, and it can make things a little bit easier for you. So very, very short range composition into a for RNG that when you look across a Red, something that can do pretty well if people are jumping in on top of it. So I'm curious to see how big this Darius for Guigo is going to get, and if that is going to be the difference maker here for Red.
And I'm going to be very curious to see how Gala gets a third pentakill on Tamken. That is something I am excited for right now, but we'll see if they're able to do it. Red have opportunities, they have ways of making this composition work for themselves. They just need to execute on those.
So we have seen the Darius for Guigo once before, did not win on that pick, but it feels like at least when you've got these tools like that Twisted Fate for Grevtar to be able to play up towards his top side, it definitely, you can lend itself towards Guigo getting set up. And you've even got Agus as well on his most comfortable pick, the champion he's played the most in his competitive career with about a nearly 70% win rate on the Lee Sin. It feels like a lot of this is going back towards, hey, let's go for something a little bit kooky, let's see if we can catch people out and see if we can take that one game off of RNG.
And that's all it takes. You just need to take one game off of RNG, and then you get to go opportunity of playing a tiebreaker versus PSG Talon for that final spot in the Rumble. Of course, PSG Talon going to be feeling as if you got the wins already. You're already 3-on-3, so you don't have to do anything, and you do still keep the opportunity open regardless of this result. But does feel like RNG are going to go towards the most elusive of the 9-0s, especially how they've been playing.
Yeah, I really want to see if RNG are going to be able to dominate from the position that we've already seen them as well. Like how well they've been able to play these last two games. It definitely looks like RNG are coming in ready to tussle with whoever they have. And of course, look, you can kind of look, hey, it's been 3 games thus far, but I mean, we play best of 3 in the LPL. This is not something that's outside of the wheelhouse for RNG. It's going to be nearly like another day at the office for them.
Yeah, and just to let you know, there is an in-game delay. There was a problem or a glitch with trading some of the champions, so we are going to be doing the picks and bans again off of air. The exact same picks and bans, just people picking their own ones. They fit nicely in their little slots. I don't think Xayah jungle works very well.
Go on, though.
Yeah, sure. Like, try something new. But you never know if you never try.
True. I mean, Morgana jungle was a thing, you know, go wave clear. I don't think it works out quite as well with Xayah, especially the level 1. I feel like the pew-pew from your Q is not going to do it, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be... Oh, Xayah Lee Sin. Yes, so it was the Xayah Lee Sin that could not be traded back, so hopefully we'll be in game very soon.
I'm not going to lie, there was a part of me that the second you said it was like, that definitely makes sense for RNG, because I didn't know where any of that stuff was going. They didn't either, but
It wasn't even RNG. It was actually on the side. But let's talk about the Tahm Kench Senna as well, considering that we haven't seen that thing. It's very much a fasting move that we saw quite a while ago, has been hit with several nerfs throughout the history of its inception. How do you expect this one to function now that we know it's going into Azaya Leona?
I mean, I think it'd be relatively all right. I mean, you farm up a Senna, you get to a spot where you're pretty good. You can go for the lethality build if you want, especially with the buffs there. Glaive kind of been seeing a little bit of that. You can go for the Kraken Slayer if you want to, a Divine Sunder build. You've got a lot of flexibility with the builds that you want to go for the Senna. You've got immense safety as well when you look at the ability to have that Tahm Kench beside you. So denying a lot of the big engages that could potentially come through, maybe even some of the kicks that the Lee Sin could potentially try and go for. So it makes sense kind of just seeing how it should round out the composition for RNG, who realistically just want to try and enable this Gwen in the mid lane, the fact you've got the Graves in the jungle as well. You're not going to lack damage in these scenarios.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing that people tend to look at when we look at the fasting Senna compositions or the farming Tahm Kench, whichever way you want to go. It is just about the damage composition around you, but with the Gwen, the Graves, like you mentioned, it's not going to be that big of a deal. And for Red, it is going to be about finding those odd-numbered skirmishes. The Twisted Fate is going to find it very difficult to deal with this Gwen in the early stages of this game, and it's going to be about how Grevtar can get around the map, can really link up with his jungler. And honestly, I'm looking at topside. This Darius has to be the win condition.
Yeah, and that's what it kind of feels like to me, at least when you look. I suppose it's more, you don't have to have him like mega turbo fed, right? It's just a case of like...
At least winning.
Yeah, at least getting control over that top side, because when I look at like RNG's composition, it's a very, very short range composition. Like Graves is going to be in the mix. Gragas, you've got the TK as well, like even the Gwen too. So if this Darius is up and rolling, we've seen, at least from solo queue experience, and even when you look back at like some of the past games where we've seen Darius in the main stage, he can just take over a game if he's far enough ahead, but it has to get to that point. He should be enabled with where RNG are, but if you start to fall behind, Darius just becomes useless. Like even the Twisted Fate becomes particularly useless as well. This is a composition from Red that says we are going to come out onto the map, get control early, and make sure that we can win this game. And if you're in with backs against the wall, your MSI relies on this game. This is a composition where you're the one that has the opportunity to take the reins.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. I love how you brought up the Twisted Fate and kind of the lack of damage there. Because if you think of the build path for a Twisted Fate, it's going to be Everfrost, not a huge amount of damage there. It's then into either the rapid, well, usually the rapid fire, but if you're having a really bad time, the Zhonya's. So it is going to be, there's your first three items. You haven't really built much AP, so it's not going to stick as hard against things like the Gragas and the Tahm Kench, and especially with the healing offered by the Senna, that's a lot of health bar to try and burn through.
And you know that Red Cannons are going to have the backing of CB Law so firmly behind them, right? Like back-to-back CB Law champions. You look at Cheaton as well, now a 4-time CB Law champion. The only person who has more titles than Cheaton is BRTT. So like you're looking at this team going, yeah, this is the mainstay. This is a team that came together, like got promoted from the academy, and then they end up moving in towards the mainstay and kind of like made a name for themselves in the CB Law. And when their goal, at least originally, was to have this like mechanically strong team that would stay together for a while, you can see the results from the results, but now they have to show it against RNG here today.
And that's the big thing. You know, if you can't go up against the likes of RNG, T1, you need to show what you've accrued for yourself throughout the entire year. And this is going to be a big, if not the biggest test for the side of the Red Cannons. This is a moment for them to try to say, look, we're here to be counted. We're here to be represented. And not only that, we're here to be a little bit feared as well. Because again, all it takes is one win now, and then you get that tiebreaker.
Yeah, and that's what they're trying to force here. And at least it'll push it to a slightly longer day tomorrow where that tiebreaker will be played. But if they can get there, if they can force that game against PSG Talon, maybe the rock, paper, scissors, the head-to-head that we had can rear up once more, and potentially Red Cannons could take that. But I mean, it all starts here today, and this is going to be the toughest test for them by a mile. The 8-0 right now, RNG, going up against the CB Law champions.
It's always a bit of a catch-22 as well, because as much as this is a massively big task for Red, as a fan, you're always going to cling onto that hope of like, but what if? What if we get the random level 1 that gets us 2 kills and we win mid lane from it? What if it all kind of comes together for us? And it almost feels cruel sometimes to come out up, because again, as you have a game like we did last time between Red and RNG, it's a bit difficult to kind of continue that and to continue keeping yourself with that hope alive.
Yeah, so the reason we're having this extended delay is that the runes did not save. So the officials on the other end are checking to see exactly what's going on there. So once we have an update, we'll pass it on to you. But that's kind of the extended pause at the moment. But yeah, I mean, look,
we've talked
if you wanted more gravity, if you wanted to build the tension anymore, this is where, you know?
How much more weight can we give onto this? Because, yeah. How was your day?
Grand. I've been here for most of it.
Actually true, yeah. It's always a bit of a shock when we leave the studio and it's just like blaring sunshine. We're like, daylight.
You kind of forget the early mornings when you're trying. Well, we're kind of used to it from the LPL.
We're fine, yeah. I was going to say, we're on like GMT time zone and then LPL time scales. So
we went out for dinner at Medic last night, and he turned around to our producer and was kind of saying, man, these early mornings are really tough, and then realized the producer was there since 4:30 in the morning. He was like, I can't really complain to him, and then tried to complain to myself and Ushi, and he was like, this is just a regular day for you. I got no one to complain about.
You got no one to complain about. You got nothing to do right now, so it's going to be... Yeah, it's been fun, though. I've enjoyed it. It's been a really fun tournament. It's been a weird tournament, I think, for sure. But, you know, I've enjoyed it.
I think the cool thing is kind of getting to meet up with everyone once again.
Yes.
Because, like, the last time at MSI, we were over in
MSI, you were in Shanghai.
Yeah. And then at Worlds, we were still all kind of kept separate. So it's nice to actually get to see people and interact with people. Like, you know, Wolf, Adez coming all the way from South Korea. Actually getting to meet them for the first time was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting to meet everybody, talk to everybody, you know. Shoot the stuff down the back, you know. Yeah. I was going to say a different word and I couldn't, so I needed to quickly come up with a different word to cover that one. But yeah, it's a really good time.
Yeah, so got an update from production there. The player in question did forget to save their runes, which is why the runes were not updated. So we will play on with the incorrect runes. So we are finally into the game.
I'm waiting for the crowd to see how loud they get. They got all right. I think given the delays and how long today has been, they've had a pretty decent one. But Red will find themselves in the top brush, maybe look for something here in the top lane. And that's going to be an interesting one as well to see where they want to go and how they want to make this one work. And I'm curious to know where exactly the last production, if they can update us on who it was with the slight thing. But it looks like pretty standard runes across the board. Oh, you actually have the Halo Blades for Cheetan, so he's going to have to go for that lethality build. And against these chunky boys, I don't think he wants to do that.
But even the lethality build, you want to try and go for the Arcane Comet, right? Because it's all about the poke, but you're not really getting that. And then you don't really have the correct rune setup to go for the crit build as well. So just a bit unfortunate for Cheetan, but especially up against Gala and Ming, right? With the Sen and the Tam Kench, you're not really going to have the all-in pressure where potentially you could use this this Halo Blade, so it is just a little bit unfortunate.
It is a little bit unfortunate, but you have to play with what the cards you've been dealt. So now Red, see if they can make any moves right now. They did cover themselves. RNG were not able to find anyone as they were going on their big 5 stack, and that means that Red will not have a great idea of where anyone is starting or where they're going, but some decent defensive ward here from Guigo means he's going to be feeling pretty okay about how aggressive he can play.
So, look, whatever about the rune choice, the good news for Red Cannons, at least at the moment, is Grevtar, in theory, should be able to get control over this mid lane. That's one of the benefits of going up against the me lane mid, and this is where Red Cannons can actually start to get the ball rolling for themselves. So my job, at least in the moment here, is kind of looking to see, hey, look, how is Aegis pathing? How can he move and kind of set up both his mid and top side? Maybe if you can burn some early summoner spells on Bin, you can set up very nicely for Grevtar when he hits that level 6.
Yep, and again, all about kind of how we see Grevtar used and utilize this Twisted Fate, all about how he's able to kind of push forward as we can see him now getting just bullied out. And honestly, you mentioned this, the Gwen does exceptionally well into the Twisted Fate, so he's just got to kind of take it right now. Despite the range discrepancy, it is going to be a very difficult time for Grevtar.
Yeah, I mean, Xiaohu just being able to close that distance, hit the level 2 first, was a bit of an unfortunate time for Grevtar, but you can see there, right, because you've got the E and the Q for Xiaohu not having that hollowed mist, Grevtar can actually start to trade a little bit effective. So we'll have to see how this goes on. Has been just getting some nice trades against Guigo as well, and allowing his lane to be pushed underneath the tower, so Wei can show up, but also Aegis can't gank.
Yeah, well, Wei is here, but Guigo will get level 3, and again, that early ward sitting on the river was good enough to keep him defensively and know that he wasn't going to get caught out.
Yeah, it does mean, though, that Bin kind of gets to hold this wave in front of his tower, which denies the opportunity for any sort of dive, but Guigo...
I mean, you know that the Wei was just there a second ago. You know he's going to be still in the vicinity, and here he is. They're going to have to pop the ghost here from the Darius as he tries to run away, maybe even having to use his flash. As you can see, Wei wants a fight right now, One more auto attack would have been good for basically the burn of the summoner, but they still get it there. Now Aegis in this bot lane, or top lane, just sitting in this brush, but he's on full vision, so they know exactly what this Lee Sin's trying to do.
Yeah, Wade just trying to make sure they can get this wave pushed in so Bing can get a nice reset for himself because Guigo doesn't have that TP. Xiaohu will spot out the Leone setting up vision on the bot side, so all in all, RNG still actually get some decent enough control off of that gank, even if the kill doesn't go across.
Wave resets. When you take the ghost, it is great for Darius if you can get that early kill, but you are losing so much to this tower. He's going to probably lose all these melee minions and then maybe even 1 or 2 off the back of this as well, so it's just tough.
Yeah, I mean, look, he'll be relatively okay. Just the XP is going to be the big one. The gold will stay relatively even because Guigo actually had gotten a bit of an advantage for himself in that top side. But Bin team back, PPing back in, should be able to catch the push.
Here we go, Xenoblade comes in. That's going to be Cheetan flashing forward right onto Gala. First blood. And these are the early skirmishes you talked about that you wanted to see.
And it's so good for Magus to get the ball rolling in this bot side, try and give a little bit of that breathing room to Cheetan and use the fact you've got this Halo Blade to quickly get that CC chain off. Now, Guigo with the ward.
With the ward to make sure he knows exactly where Bin is going. We'll get the full bleed down. We'll keep him down, but again, this should be pretty easy for the Gragas to sustain up from. He even got a couple of biscuits to help him out.
It's the ward bait. You put it down, Bin wants to clear it, then you're able to grab him the second he goes to the ward.
Big brain.
It's about playing the long con, the mind games in this top lane for Guigo. But now Wade back on the spot side.
Cheetan doesn't have flash. Remember, he used it to try and engage last time. You'll be slowed down quite a bit by this. As you can see now, flash forward. Yeah, Cheetan, he's got nowhere to go. He's got nowhere to hide. And that's going to be Gala and Ming peppering him down to set him up nicely there for Wei. As I say that, you can see Cheetan, he wants to give it to anyone else but Wei. But it shall not be done. And now Guigo! Flash, belly, flop, and that is rough for the top side of red.
And it's a bit of a Darius flop as well, not able to get himself any sort of control on this top side. The gank worked out well. Grevtar wasn't in a position yet, and I mean, Grevtar, I don't think he can really do particularly much underneath this tower.
Yeah, you can see if he just had 6 there, but we are going to have another pause coming in. Yeah, we're starting to see RNG start to pick up the pace, and we talked about how this was an important game for Red to try and pick up that momentum. Not quite able to have it right now.
Hey, bro, I heard you like long days, so we thought we'd gotten rid of the 12-game day, but now we got the 9-game plus extra, you know, to make sure that
the 9-game plus is the deluxe edition.
Yeah, the new game plus, you know.
That's new game plus. Has a whole different meaning in League of Legends. It's like new game plus. It's just longer. That's all it is. The other games were far too quick for our liking, but yeah, it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation. Of course, I'm sure the players want to try and get whatever is happening rectified as soon as possible. As soon as we have an update, we will let you guys know. But yeah, so far, RNG, they're kind of just out-handsing them right now. That top lane kill was just straight up Bin saying, Guigo, look, I know you don't have Ghost, I have Flash, and I have the damage.
Yeah, and it was just unfortunate because it did feel like they were waiting for Grevtar to move up that top side, maybe look for a dive, but Bin kind of reading the play well, gets that quick kill, and it's just unfortunate for Guigo and for Red Cannons as well. Like, it kind of is heartbreaking because this is, as we said, the lane that you'd love to try and play around, love to try and get started, but that's not working out on top side. You get the kill in the bot lane, you're like, oh, this is great, and then Cheetan overextends that little bit. It feels like, unfortunately, for Red Cannons, the little advantages that they'd tried to accrue, RNG are starting to shut down.
Yeah, and this is just RNG in a nutshell. RNG are one of those teams that just can isolate you and just say, look, we know what you're going to try to do, we know how to mitigate it, and that's just the big thing as well, because the fact that you have got, everyone's having a good time, that's good to see.
Rocks Tigers, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
2015 World Finals, I believe it was, against SKT?
Yeah, because 2017 was Samsung White.
Yes, and then 2016 was SKT, but I can't remember who they played against.
Yeah, I think it was 2016, because that was the year, that was the Arrow, wasn't it? That was Praise Arrow.
Oh, it might have been.
Yeah, I think that was 2016.
It might have been. I know definitely I went to the one in Berlin in 2015 as a big fan.
Yeah.
I also went to the quarterfinals dressed as a bin bag with TSM written on me as well. That was we were NA trash. I've never had
I'm ready for the hate to be flown. So
hey
ready.
Hey man, I gotta get my digs in sometimes, all right? I gotta be able to learn how to, just throw it back. Yeah. See what I can do, and I'll probably cry. But there's those memes like, "Don't push me, I will cry." It's like, no, it's not fair. You can't throw it and not give it back. But yeah. It's a bit of a fun one. Rockstargers I haven't seen them in a while, obviously, because they're no longer an org, but the players are still going good.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it's been a hot minute since I saw Rocks. But speaking of, well, not Rocks, but Red kind of did report an in-game issue, so the potential bug that the league officials are investigating. So we'll get more information on that. But yeah, back to history time. See, the thing is, it's kind of interesting because I feel like whenever I come to these events, I'm interacting with folks that have been around for so damn long,
generations,
and then I'm the new kid on the block, kind of going, hey,
I was a fan.
Yeah.
I've been around since like 2013. How's it going?
Yeah, it's like, joined in 2020 in the LPL. Is like started off my new journey over there, and then it's like, oh, cool, I get to hang out with all the cool kids now.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun as well. What was your favorite league memory?
Just in general?
Yeah, in general, like be it a gameplay or an event you went to, anything.
Well, like, I'm not gonna, because I've been a big Uzi fan since like 2013.
Yes, you were.
So like, I remember.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I watched Uzi back in 2013, where he played that Vayne game where he was tumbling like crazy in the top side blue jungle even. I was like, God, this guy's so good. So basically, I started watching a ton of Uzi, then realized that I can't be Uzi, so swapped from AD carry to support, and that was basically my like, oh my God, this is cool. But then actually getting to cast Uzi in this year, where he like had anyone. If this pause goes long enough, go look up PLG versus V5 Game 3. Rookie versus Uzi's Ezreal was one of the coolest things that I've ever been a part of. It's like, that game was absolutely incredible.
It was awesome. We were in the car the other day, and we just basically said, like, wow, we get to cast Uzi and Faker in the same year. Yeah. Holy crap, that's awesome. But I do have an update for you. All league officials have investigated the alleged bug. Everything is working as intended, so we will be continuing play from the same moment, and hopefully that will be the last pause that we possibly have. But, of course, we do want to make sure that all teams and players are 100%, so always good to check these things. But, yeah, trying to think of, like, that's another good question. What's your favorite, like, league anthem? Any song. Not even just Worlds, like any song.
I don't know. Have you heard of this TV show Arcane? I kind of like the intro to that,
About this real indie band called Imagine Dragons. Is that would that be like one of your top songs?
No. I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know why, but it's just like kind of very jovial. I love Brahms' theme. Oh,
Brahms' theme is so good. Back when they used to have, like, because I think it was like one day I was like, I hadn't played League in a while, and I just like turned on the client. It used to be just like the front bit of the client was just the newest champion, and it was Brahm and his thing, and I just sat there just like, this is awesome.
I mean, if I'm going for like international anthems, I think Rise is pretty good.
Rise
great. It's not only just the song, it's like the actual video to it as well was just so sick.
Yeah, all the little Easter eggs, all the little kind of things. Go watch the videos. The videos are great. Yeah, I'm trying to think of really other good songs that I've had like mass. Like, do you ever like associate a song with like League of Legends? In particular?
There was a few of them. I remember there was like, it was a completely unofficial, and I can't even remember the name of the song, but it's like in my head. But it's someone like basically amassed all the different animations that League put out through like ads and all this kind of stuff and made it into a story, and now I cannot for the life of me
know the exact video you're talking about.
Something Fate. I can't remember.
Twist of Fate?
Something like that, yeah.
I know that sounds really stupid and corny because it's a twisted fate, but but anyway, we can stop talking about ourselves and get you guys back into the game. Dagdas, press the button to resume as we come back into this.
Tell them about the button.
Yeah,
it's a secret.
They're not allowed to know that we have control about whether or not the game starts, but we are going to see the kill up in top side. And again, this was just Ben recognizing that he had an opportunity here. Not landing the apprehend is actually kind of huge.
Yeah, I mean, just getting the poke now. And this is the thing, right? Grevtar has push, and Guigo is trying to go, all right, look, if we can try and make a play up here, that'd be great, but Guigo burns through his mana incredibly fast here. Bing gets some more of that damage. You get the grasp of the Undying damage as well, but back to live.
Back to live. We're going to see there, you can see Aegis looking for something on this bot side will be rooted up as the wave was pushing in, but shall not make anything going. Oh, Guigo, he's going to get caught out. He's going to find himself in a bit of a party. There's the explosive cast to bring him right back in. Where are you going, buddy? We all just arrived. And Ben drinks him underneath the table. That is just a well-executed gank by the side of Bin and Wei.
And just unfortunate timing for Grevtar. It actually started to lean bot side, thinking Aegis was going to go for play, but now it's RNG. We're actually collapsing on the dragon.
Yeah, they're looking to try and get him. He needs to leave, and now Jojo realizes without a flash, he might be in a lot of trouble. Gets knocked up airborne. They're going to have a stun coming in, but the Destiny Gate does get popped out. So Jojo still keeping himself alive, and it's traded the Tom Kent for the Leon, and now Ming keeping Xiao Xiaohu very, very healthy, and Gravtar has to flash away. Xiaohu going away from his own tower, but you can see Ming just peppering down these health bars. They get the, oh, nicely done! The Q alongside the collateral damage, and now Xiaohu, he's gonna try and look for something. They're gonna try and push in the wave. You're caught between a rock and a hard place. I don't think there's many places for you to go, Red. You're gonna have to accept your fate. The flash forward, the kills go down, and Xiaohu picks them all up.
And suddenly it's 7-2 in favor of RNG. Again, these kills a minute in the last 2 games, staying strong for the LPL representative. The tower goal is going to go across to Xiaohu and Ming here as well, and just like that, it's already starting to go in favor of LPL.
Just takes one little moment for RNG to really find an opportunity to take you out. And let's have a look at the replay here, because again, it's just Aegis trying to find something, but he's looking for a needle in a haystack.
And this is the thing, right? You'd actually think Gravtar can come across faster, but the wave is underneath his tower, so he has to go deal with that. So by the time he gets across here, RNG have already dealt with many of the threats. You're just lucky, realistically here for Xiaohu, that the wave is already about to hit the tower, so he just gets to walk on out. And Ming has been left just completely untouched to continue peppering down the members of Red as they continue to crash the wave.
And Senna just feels, yes, she's a support, but every now and again you get games like this where she just feels so busted. And honestly, Red, you're in a bad situation. Catch-22, and they had to go for something, and yeah, it's just, you have to laugh, because if you don't laugh, you cry.
Yeah, I guess kind of scratching his head there going, I don't know what I'm supposed to do different. But Wei now starting to move up towards this top side again. Bin looking to collapse. Xiaohu has a little bit of a push in mid as well if he wants to try and join.
Yeah, they're looking for it right now, but it's just going to be kind of clearing out the vision. Shelly has been spawned and is ready to go, wants to be a part of someone's team, make it a 6v5, and it looks like RNG just have full control over this top side, so not really much else you can do as the Red Candidates as you wait to try and make it go. But again, you're getting so much harassment down here as Ming and Gala. I want to know what these wards are. You know what I mean? We've seen it twice now. They dropped down the ward, and I'm not quite sure why.
I mean, at the moment anyway, I'm trying to keep my eyes on Gravtar, because that ult is nearly up, the wave is pushing out, and you've already committed a lot of members up here topside for RNG, so maybe Gravtar could try and make a play here. It looks like we might be going for it.
Now pops the Scryer's Bloom, but not without full information of Xiaohu and Wei. Is he going to look for something just yet? But they know that the Rift Tile did go down very recently, so they're going to assume he's on that top side, and that should be the Dragon going down. But this looks like a little bit of deja vu, but no, Gala and Ming, they're not going to check out the Dragon just yet, but oh, Gravtar is in a little bit of trouble. He's getting needlework down, he gets caught out, one more auto attack, and he is snipped apart. Cut through like paper, and RNG, they're just picking up the pace.
Yeah, it looks like Xiaohu and Caps might be onto something. This Gwen looking pretty damn good. Has the Boots of Lucidity there as well, so having the skip and slash up very, very quickly just means they can chase down the Twisted Fate incredibly easy.
That's the Umbral Glaive already picked up here for Ming, as we can do see Aegis trying to jump in onto Xiaohu, knowing he does not have his ultimate, but he does have a Ghost, so you need to be a little bit careful of where and when you commit to this. Very difficult to try and take down a Gwen. Is immune, if you weren't aware, to a lot of different things, so yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough moment here for Red, and it is starting to ramp up again to see the RNG are just kind of finding their moments and just taking them so well.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, it's 2.5k gold in 10 minutes, but the problem is with the composition that Red have, it comes to be incredibly difficult to actually operate if you start to fall behind, right? Gravtar really struggling to get out of lane and interact with things. Guigo not having the best of times on topside with 2 kills already for Bin. So these are 2 champions that definitely want to get up and rolling early. So maybe if Red can try and get themselves back in check here, they should be okay, but it just seems like that window is closing fairly rapidly with the way RNG are playing.
Especially when you have a farming Zaya against a farming Tahm Kench. She's already behind the Tahm Kench by about 300 gold. It's not really what you want to be seeing, but there's a kick going to be coming in. We're going to see the root come down as well. There's Dawning Shadow, but should not be able to save Ming. To say that the Honey Fruit will delay a little bit more, he'll pick up a ward for his troubles and say, you know what, I got shut down, but I got that vision control.
Hey, at least it's something, right? Back in favor of Red. Aga's doing a good job to be there to try and shut down Ming, but now pull into the top side for Bin.
And the Apprehend does land, and he is getting those stacks of bleed coming in, but this is why the Gragas is so good into this Darius. You're just able to sustain and hold up. You got the W, you've got your passive as well to get the health back as well. So it's just very difficult for the side of red to make any damage really stick. And we talked about that. They got the beefy health bars and also just the healing coming out from the side of RNG. It is going to be about those big skirmishes. A Xiaohu hits a lot of damage here. He's going to try and turn it back. Never mind. He's going to be able to take him all the way down to nearly kill range. And that's just how quick that matchup can turn.
Yeah, very quickly Xiaohu turning that damage back around. Already has the Riftmaker completed, so that healing coming through is Bin sees Guigo and wants a bit more.
Yep, they know that the rest of RNG are probably coming up on top of this one here, so he's going to have to just leave the wave to die. Aegis going to try and maybe come up here to try and help him out, but you do not have the Destiny Gate available. You do, however, have a TP, and they're going to use it right now. Shelly will be spawned, and it shouldn't be enough, though, to kill off the tower. They're investing an awful lot here on the side of red just to try and keep this tower alive. And Guigo has to flash away. They don't even use the collateral damage right now, and yes, you saved the tower, but for how long?
I mean, at least it's given a bit of time to Cheetan in his bot lane, right? Might be able to get some turf plates for himself too, but as you say, like, red investing a lot here to keep the tower, but the tower will fall, it feels like, off this next push. No vision up here for red either to know if there's more coming.
Yeah, oh, Grevtar just about gets away from that root, but they can just take down the tower and then go for the full dive. You can see Bin tanking it up. The gold card will land. Aegis will take a little bit of a kick to try and make this one work for him and his team, but it's just RNG again pushing forward. 4,000 gold lead, get themselves first tower, and you've got a Tam Kenshin bot line. You can't really dive them.
No, I mean, you can definitely take tower place though, and as you can see, 2 and a bit already taken, so at least some gold going over in favor of Cheetan here, and he'll desperately take that, especially with the Cull as well. He knows that he needs to get rolling on this crit Xayah, but no help will be coming, so it'll just be at least 3 plates going to red, but a lot more for RNG in the top side.
And that's what you need as well. I will say, very little vision there on the bot side for the side of RNG, so Gala needs to be a little bit careful where he is. And you got some good offensive vision there from the side of red, just kind of making sure they can cover the Xayah in case anyone's feeling a bit frisky. But yeah, it is tough, and it is going to be a very big battle for the side of red to try and get back into this. But if they can continue to find odd number of skirmishes, especially with that Kraken Slayer, maybe Cheetan could get enough time to do some damage.
Sorry, I got distracted by the gold difference in the mid lane. That is absolutely insane.
Lord.
Xiaohu is monstrous. But as you said, I mean, look, Cheetan there in the bot side has a bit of about a 600 gold lead for himself, has the Kraken Slayer now picked up as well, so maybe he can start to do some work, because realistically, when you look at RNG, right, like, you've got the Gragas doesn't really have much threat in the backline. You've got decent peel here for Cheetan as well. So Cheetan, if he can deal with Gwen, can be okay, but that's the if that you're kind of looking at here.
Yeah, it's a big if, as we can see Bin now just trying to take away this pink board, but Aegis is here, will not land the Sonic Wave, but still wants to fully commit to get the Everfrost out and the flash from Bin, so good moves here from red. They're not going to go out just yet without a fight. Now Cheetan, Jesus Christ!
I looked at the minimap for like half a second.
You looked at a half a second, that's all they needed to absolutely delete his health bar. Now Xiaohu going to see the very limits of this Gwen, and that very limits are not very much. As we can see, there's a gold card coming in. Good explosive cast from Bin, as he knows he does not have flash, but it's a bit overextended here from RNG. Is going to flash back to get the stun down. They're going to be able to lock him up, and away will be taken out. This is some good momentum from red, and they're going to be able to turn that into a dragon as well.
They could maybe turn it into a play on bot side as well. RNG sticking around that bit too long. You've got Grevtar in the way. Red, what do you want to try and do here?
You got to go for the objective. I think you know how difficult it's going to be to take down this Tam Kench and Senna combination, but 2 dragons is still very good for the side of red and will keep them very competitive in this game. Again, it's only a 3,000 gold lead. It was looking like it was going to get a bit ridiculous, but they're holding their own. They're doing very well to get trade ups rather than trade downs.
Yeah, I know they can have a bit of control over the mid lane, look to reset, spend that gold. Only issue is Rift Herald back up on the map. You'd love to be able to contest it as red, and it's actually been a bit of an interesting story here for red. Usually we see them putting a lot of emphasis over towards the Rift Heralds. This time 2 dragons in their back pocket, but
I mean, this is slow. That is 0.25 speed, and we still barely see her health bar coming in. That is absurd right now, and this is where red kind of recognize that, you know what, they don't have a global of ultimate. We can actually go for this.
Yeah, and that's why I think Xiaohu overextending and overstaying in the mid lane stays that bit too long underneath the tower, and red do a really good job of collapsing onto it, getting these kills, getting some much needed gold back, and especially, look, Grevtar, it's nice if he gets like these 2 items very, very quickly, but honestly, I think getting that gold onto Aegis is actually the most valuable person there, especially 4-1 now, has that Gore Drinker completed and looking for more.
Yeah, they're going to try and collapse on top of this one. Grevtar was coming down with a gold card potentially locked for him, but Grevtar may have stepped too far forward. They won't get the tongue lash down as Wade picks up that second Herald. So RNG now recognizing they might not be totally out of the woods just yet, and they need to start taking control back into this mid-game. So with the Rift Herald in hand, they're going to try and maybe force something out here, and with the Senna and the Graves, it should be pretty easy for them to take down this turret, and honestly, they could go for a little bit more as well.
They are going to just back away here. You have a push from Shao in the bottom. Well, I say they're going to back away, but you do have to be careful because Darius is roaming down from top side. RNG kind of playing a bit long in the mid lane, but still should be okay.
Should be okay. We're starting to see some big MasterCard mythics coming out as well for the side of Red. You've got that Gore Drinker now in the lead scene. The Everfrost picked up, and actually the stopwatch as well. Stridebreaker just got finished up for Guigo, so his kill potential is pretty damn high. On the other side of that, though, you have the Riftmaker, and look at this Graves as well, already building up to the Collector alongside the Eclipse. We can see Aegis. You've been caught out, buddy. There's nowhere for you to go. He can get over. Oh! The Great Escape!
So well played by Argus, but he also put himself in that position.
We take
Didn't
the fun of it.
I was gonna say, like, he actually could. I actually like the idea of like moving in, getting vision control, letting Grevtar push in onto this bot lane turret, but just going by yourself is always the no-no. So still with Red here, should be able to get the wave in and take this bot lane turret, which is realistically what Red were trying to do off the play.
They will get the result they wanted. Yes, it cost the ultimate at least in, but it's going to cost a little bit more. This is Xiaohu on Gwen, gets the shutdown, and he's hungry to keep pushing. You can see him, blood in his eyes, and vigor in his scissors as he keeps pushing forward. Jojo recognizing, I'm sorry, Grevtar, leave me be. And that's going to be Xiaohu picking up 2 kills. But Gala and Ming, they don't want to let this one go. Flash forward. Gold card going to be landed, but the cleanse is there. And Ming picks up his kill. This is RNG picking up the pace, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And now you got the wave on bot side. They can look to take the tier 2. RNG are moving in towards the mid as well. Guigo will be spotted by Gala, but Cheaton off on the side. I don't know if they take this.
I mean, you're going to have to pop the ghost, but he'll still get tongue lashed here. You might be forced to use your flash as well. No, he's going to get caught out by the Devourer. They're going to use that aggressively, and yep. Darius win conditions looking at a 0-3-0. Not really doing what we thought it would do, and now you can keep going forward. There's the explosive cast. Aegis going to use the smite to try and keep himself alive, but only for a little bit longer. And Ming picks himself up another kill. Now Cheetan uses his ultimate to try and catch out Xiaohu, the heal as well. They will not get the blue buff just yet either. So this is just Red having to play reactively, because honestly, they're just being pushed back at every single point. The fight's never stopped. Dagda, as Bin wants some more of the action. He's actually going full AP Gragas, so he packs a punch. That belly is full, and now it's dead as he goes a little bit too far forward, and now Red might fancy themselves a bit of a thing. The Zenith Blade lands, so does the gold card, but you don't really have the damage to push this one in. Flash from Wave, flash from Cheetan, and now we can go back in. Guigo coming in with the resets and gets himself 1 kill. Looking at Gala, and he smites him down.
The TP.
They're going to look for more. They got themselves the ultimate as well from Grevtar, so they know exactly where they are. Here's the Hex Gates coming in. They hex into this fight. It's a long, extended play, and they're going to keep pushing forward on top of it. Guigo can see it. Guigo knows he can look for it, but Guigo is by himself, and that's still a Gwen. We started with the needlework. We'll end with the needlework as finally Xiaohu gets shut down. Another TP as Bin joins back with his team, and Dagda, let me take a breath.
He'll get to take one as Bin will not be able to waddle his legs fast enough to catch up with Red. But Red have found a ton of picks. They got a ton of those shutdowns, and now they've actually managed to get themselves into a position where they're crawling that little bit of gold back with 5 seconds until the Dragon. Cheetan can get the top. The Riptides put in no man's land, and maybe with Xiaohu down, they can look to take this very quickly, but with 10 seconds and a TP on to the Gwen, it doesn't look like Red are willing to try and contest the Dragon.
They won't contest the Dragon, but they are contesting the love of my heart right now, because I did not expect this game to be as fun to cast. I think a lot of people are going to expect it again, considering our last game, this is what this was going to be, but Red really giving us a show, and honestly, it's still only 3,000 gold.
I mean, look, how dare you? CBLOL having so damn fun to watch at international events. I love seeing this team stepping up, taking it to the LPL #1 representative. A fantastic solar flare from Jojo means that they can actually follow this up. As you get the Hexgate out of the bench, Guigo, he just goes. He knows that this is his time to try and take it back against RNG. Grevtar as well with the destiny to put himself in behind RNG, who don't even realize because they just don't know where the Twisted Fate has gone to.
I love if you look at the minimap as well, you can see Cheetan going, all right, I'm just going top lane. I need to get some kind of resources to me. But this is a long extended fight. Guigo does lose the stack reset on his ultimate because it waited so long to get on top of it. So he does fall, but this is still fantastic gold, still fantastic responses coming out from the Red Canids. And this is what we wanted to see from them. If they can continue to find these odd-numbered skirmishes, which is exactly what they got here about 6 times in a row, they've got a shot.
And this is the thing, right? Like, you look at Cheetan, who's been able to set himself up in the bot side. He's getting 2 items for himself. Now, RNG are starting to push in, though, and this is where it gets dangerous. If RNG moves this death ball, it becomes a lot more difficult for, you know, Grevtar to find these isolated picks, for Aegis to get that kick onto the right person because of the Tam Kench. So, as long as RNG stay separated, Red can find a chance. But Guigo looking to maybe hide off on the wings here.
He's trying to hide off on the wings, but he was spotted on a pink ward there, so you know that the Darius is around here as Jojo just trying to establish some kind of vision control. You've got some decent items here from RNG. You can see, as I said, it was the full AP Gragas, so he's also going to pack a punch. You've got the Nashers 2 finished up for Xiaohu, TP and Ghost available for him, so he can side split push as well as join a team fight whenever he pleases. However, you do have some good item spikes now on the side of Red. You've got the Essence Weaver alongside that Kraken Slayer. You are building up, and the big 2 item spikes from Grevtar, where his gold cards should, in theory, be able to hit the bottom side. Now we can see Xiaohu. Then maybe see if he can look to try and deal with this 1v1, but it's no longer a 1v1. Peekaboo, I see you now. Guigo needs to try and fully commit to this one here. Has the Strikebreaker coming in. He's going to get himself right on top of him as they do get the ultimate down. But this is the Baron coming in, and this is Gwen and Xiaohu with the Dawning Shadow in a 1v2. It will be a double kill. RNG not to be outdone. And now Red, you got to hope for a Baron steal, but they're not even going to give it to you. They're going to look for the fight straight away. Jojo in a lot of trouble as he gets knocked up by the Tam Kench and taken off the Rift. Cheetan needs to go for something right now. He's going to find Gala, but not quite enough damage. So tantalizingly close, but so unbelievably far away. And just as that glimmer of hope was starting to gain some power, it gets extinguished by RNG.
RNG threw the dog a bone for a little bit, but Red Canids, they end up finding themselves losing out across the map. RNG now will chase down Aegis. They will crack up in the base of Red Canids, and just like that, the 9-0 looking good for RNG.
They're still going. They don't know where Aegis is. He is playing the best game of hide and seek I've ever seen. He's going to try and fully commit onto Ming, but he will end up dying, and that's going to try and delay some of this. And I will say it will delay the Baron take right now, but not for very long.
Not going to be for particularly long as they get to fall back towards that. Guigo solo pushing in the mid. No jungler for Red Canids. And it's been a valiant effort from the CB Law representative, but maybe we get more fight out of them as the TPs come in towards the mid lane.
Gala's very low for this one here. If you get a couple of resets here with the Darius, Guigo might be able to make something work. The Solar Flare is good. It lands on the 2 people, but Guigo's been put right into the front of this. He's not going to get his ultimate off just yet and doesn't get the reset. I admire the opportunity of it. I admire the attempt, but it's just not good enough.
Xiaohu now looking to chase down Grevtar. Baron in the hands of RNG. A TP to the bot lane. They're hunting for Grevtar.
And Aegis as well, as he's going to try and help out his mid laner. They're going to get the level 16 Gwen to go into her immunity, as Bin has joined up with his team as well. Now with the 2v2, do they find themselves feeling frisky? Bin not going to land the Everfrost, not going to commit for the belly bop just yet. And they're just going to push in the waves.
Yeah, they're just going to be able to push these in. Gwen will reset. They got push on bot. Xiaohu moves to the top side, and you get to continue to push these waves in as 30 seconds till the dragon. With Red stuck in their base, how do you try and contest it?
I mean, this is just Gwen. It's a level 15 Gwen versus level 13 Darius and Twisted Fate. And when she's able to isolate one of the targets to put the damage down, you're just going to have a bad time.
But that's the thing, you don't have that damage there. Guigo set behind early with Bin and Wei. Grevtar on a Twisted Fate. He's not going to try and carry this, and Grevtar hoping to get the stun and Destiny out, but Xiaohu just about getting that Q off just as he went into the space.
Run, Aegis. It's not safe for you. He kicks back. He's ticking down, and oh my lord, this is what Gwen can do. And on the other side, it's a 4v4. There's the explosive pass coming down on top of the Dawning Shadow, and that's Darius dead. The Leona shall join him in the grey screen, and this is just RNG finally saying this game is over. This group is done. We are the undefeated no matter how many games we have to play, and Red are just sitting here to watch. Cheetan trying to do something against Bin, but he's just not got the damage at all.
Yeah, RNG looking to show G2 that they can do it just as well. An undefeated group for them now, very much set in their eyes as they take down this bottom inhibitor. Gwen with Xiaohu on the top side of the map. map to take down another inhibitor turret. And look at Ming. He's just trying to clear out the red buff for himself and say, thank you very much, I'll take that.
They're going to reset just before this Red Bull Baron power play does expire. It is 5,500 gold with 45 seconds left to go. Dragon spawning is going to be the second Hex Dragon for RNG. And yeah, you're hoping for a miracle right now as Red. And honestly, it could happen, but you know, miracles don't happen very often, and that's why they're called them.
I mean, at this stage, it's so difficult to. The damage isn't there on your top laner. You're running this Twisted Fate mid who doesn't have control of the map. And even the Xayah as well, still waiting on that Infinity Edge to come through. And honestly doesn't really have the front line to enable a crit Xayah to function with those auto attacks being the main source of damage. So now RNG looking to start to set up once more. 10 kills on Xiaohu, who's pushing in that top side. 8 kills on this Graves for Wade. You have so much damage available on the side of RNG.
27 kills in 27 minutes. That is just absurd to think how much aggression RNG have been putting in. Of course, for Red, you put up a valiant fight and you will have one last chance, you would imagine, to try and make this game. Your MSI relies on it. You got to try and put something forward. Give us a show. Show us some fireworks as Titan just loses all of his health bar. That was 2 auto attacks. Ultimate. It's just absurd. Now Gala's feeling confident, so he's gonna go, right, no one can kill me now. The Kraken Slayer's gone.
Yeah, lethality kind of strong. And unfortunately, Cheaton's health bar not that strong. Now RNG starting to move through. The wave is there. They're feeling it, but is it a repeat of last game where we get the hullabaloo? Or can they close this one out?
Well, let's find out and see. It is 3 members of RNG, Wei, Gala, and Bin, keeping everybody away from this inhibitor, and it will be taken by Xiaohu. Ming just kind of playing off to the wings, making sure he's there and available to not get caught, and also to diss out the healing. Now the waves are finally crashing in here for RNG, and Red need to try and find a way to make this one work. Remember, this is a full AP Gragas, so he is very squishy if he gets caught out. Now with Cheetah back, they're going to flash in. The explosive cast is good, but they're getting the solar flare, and there's the Devourer coming out for Gala. Now they can re-engage on top of this. Grevtar trying to move forward, but you're losing your base. Xiaohu's not even here. Never mind. He wants to be a part of this party. He's going to TP in and force everyone from Red to back away. This is your final fight, CB LOL. You got to make something happen, but I just don't think you've got it in you. Sadly for you, the wallets from RNG are too damn big. They're too stacked. And you got to try and look for this now 5v4. RNG looking to go undefeated. PSG Talon looking to cry out as they will go to the next stage of MSI. It's going to be it. It's going to be an unofficial 9-0, an official 6-0 for RNG as they get the job done. For CB LOL, a salute to you. You made it fun. But at the end of the day, LPL still going to be number 1.
Yeah, Red Cannon's shown CB LOL has improved a lot, but unfortunately not enough to take down RNG. Huddled in their base for warmth, the Nexus will fall, and Red will exit from MSI.
Of course, congratulations to RNG. They will top the group, joining G2 as undefeated. And now it's on to the next stage.
And we'll have to see if T1 will be able to do the same tomorrow and get that undefeated streak as well. But for Red Cannons, my heart goes out to them. They played an incredible tournament. I think they did the CB LOL proud with how well they were able to come into this. And honestly, seeing the growth of this region, of this team as well, even looking from Worlds last year to MSI this year, the way they were able to try and play off of those 2 lanes, overload one side of the map, play the map well. You can see that the CB LOL is starting to become a region to be reckoned with. It's just unfortunate that they had to go up against RNG to see if they could solidify themselves into that next stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can see there, it's always going to be heartbreaking. It's always going to be disappointing, but again, you can hold your heads up high. They did exceptionally well, and unfortunately, that's the nature of sports. There is a winner, and sadly, there is a loser.
Still, though, I think Red should be proud, as I said, about what they have achieved, even if they're not able to go on towards the next stage. We'll have to see, especially as we start to move on towards Worlds, if we end up seeing the Red Cannons once more, if they can continue to keep that growth and that streak going, as they will bow out one last time from MSI.
And again, I'm excited for this team. I'm excited to see how they grow. Like you mentioned, I want to see more from these guys. And you can see the impression they left on the crowd. People are loving what they're bringing to the stage, the energy, and you can see just how much they care. It's an unfortunate end to what could have been a great story, but we will see now going into the tomorrow's stage, if anyone can, who else will be joining the likes of G2, EG, PSG, and of course RNG?
Yep, and that's what we're kind of going to be looking forward to now, to see what is going to be the final standings of a lot of these teams. I mean, it does obviously T1 going to be joining us at least. I will have to see who's going to be taking that spot
seems a very controversial statement. How dare you? How dare you have that opinion?
But no, obrigado, Red Cannons.